you've interviewed and seen so many personalities in your years in television. Is there a person that you've always wanted to meet or interview but haven't?
Well, really, it was Princess Diana. And of course, that could never happen again. But I covered the wedding of Diana to Prince Charles. And then I covered Fergie's wedding. And then I covered Diana's death. And then I later, like a few years ago, my executive producer who brought me to Good Morning America was at Fox News. And he called me one day and said, we got this wedding coming up, Prince William and Kate Middleton. And I looked around the Fox newsroom today, and I'm not sure if there's anybody over 30. So he said, I need someone to come over here and give us some historical perspective. And I said, no, I've got a million things going on. I said, 30 days. That's all I'm asking you for, 30 days. So I said, yes. And I went over and so I went to London and I did all the difference between Diana and Kate Middleton and all of that. And I interviewed Prince Charles on one of his very rare trips to the United States years ago. At the time, Jane Pauley was hosting Today, I was hosting GMA, and Diane Sawyer was hosting CBS Morning at the time.
Yeah.
Each network could send one person, and the three of us went. They gave you all these rules. Don't extend your hand before he extends his. You call him your Royal Majesty to begin with, and Sir thereafter. And I mean, all these rules, like you walked in, you felt like you had to be like, patting your head, rubbing your stomach. Don't sit before he sits, and don't ask anything about Prince Andrew and this porn star, basically.
Oh my God.
And there was a whole big thing going on. It was a big scandal, and don't ask anything about that. So of course and they had us draw straws to see who would go first. So Diane Sawyer went first. 4 questions in, she asked about the porn star. So she didn't get much after that. I came last, and I've learned, and other people can use this. If you want to know something, if you want to get someone to talk, if you say, everybody's really taking you to task on blah, blah, blah. No, because you're not going to get the right answer. You'll get the right answer if you say, I was really interested in how you came up with blah, blah, blah. Tell me how you came up with that. They'll talk to you forever.
Yeah.
You'll get the answer. So with Prince Charles, I started with you're here in the United States, opening the school, which was a project that your mentor, Lord Mountbatten, started. And I know he meant so much to you. Tell me about that. That's all he wanted to talk about. And, so in light of that, what was your education like? Because you went to a private school, you were away from your parents, away from your family. And that got me to say, so does that now influence, do you think, on what kind of education you want for your child? To which he then addressed, and I'd say, and how is Diana and William? I got there. But yeah. You have to take the person by the hand and walk them gently down the path to get to that answer that you want. If you come out with both barrels loaded, you're never going to get the answer you want.
Yeah. People's favorite subject is themselves, but you've got to approach it in a light where they want to open up. And that is a real craft to be able to build rapport and trust in a conversation.
And, it's interesting because sometimes it's intimidating talking to somebody who's, I'm not going to say higher up the food chain, but somebody who's intimidating to you.
Absolutely.
And I can remember a number of times, I was the host of Good Morning America, but Mary Tyler Moore just walked into the studio. I watched her all the time growing up, and I was like so nervous to go down there and interview her. So she was like standing, and I walked down to the other side, the other end of the set, and she came up to me and said, I'm so nervous. I watch you guys every morning. I was like, what? I mean, it's always important to remember that they get up and brush their teeth in the morning and put on their left shoe and their right shoe, just like we do. And they have their own idiosyncrasies and their own self-doubts. And some of the biggest stars would come on and really be nervous as hell. I mean, Steve Martin used to be so nervous, and we expected him to be funny. And he wasn't always that funny when he wasn't like on stage, and almost resented you expecting them to be funny. I remember Michael Bolton, the first time he came on, oh my God, he was so nervous. It was right before Time, Love, and Tenderness came out. And before that, he was somewhat unknown.
Yeah.
And he was so nervous. And so I went out and was kind of hand holding with him and got him and told him what I was going to talk to him about, kind of walked him through it. And, you can make somebody comfortable just with your eyes and your body language. To me, that was a huge part of being able to host a morning show where people maybe haven't eaten breakfast. They had an extra cup of coffee that they don't usually have. They're nervous. They're under the bright lights. Our job was not only to ask the right questions, it was to be able to help them. Celine Dion, I did the same thing with her. Nobody knew who Celine Dion was. And she was so nervous. And they said, go in the green room, calm her down. And I went in and she said, well, I don't speak English that well. And so I did the same thing with her. And, so she invited me on tour with her to do Behind Closed Doors later, another show I did. She came and sang to me on my last day of Good Morning America. These people who are very big stars, like when they're in the beginning, they're also nervous.
Yeah. And remember they're human. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.